some of the greatest successes I've been part of and helped out with myself in terms of selling Scrum to our organization, or introducing it, or getting started with it, whatever you want to call it really, but going from not having done it to giving it a go, has been in pilot programs or lighthouses or whatever you want to call them. I like to use the term experiments because that's essentially what it is. We are setting up an experimental team or team of teams. Maybe if you're doing a scaled approach off the bat, which higher risk maneuver, but doable. I've seen some great successes with that too. And the reason I bring that up, and it's similar to other topics we've talked about safe to fail experiments, this is a bit more nuanced. This is a bit beyond that. Safe to fail, we're worrying more about overcoming resistance. With seeing the Scrum implementation as an experiment, we're looking at it instead from a, let's look at the data. Let's be rigorous about this and do this in a informed manner. Not just in terms of, are we getting things done faster? Getting stuff done fast is great, and it's often a side effect, I like to say, of agility. Because when we focus on getting stuff done, things tend to get done, which is usually not, funny enough, the focus in traditionally structured organizations and teams. But also, we want to look at, of course, value. Are we delivering more value? Are our employees happy? Are our organizations doing better within the business? Are our customers happy? What about our suppliers? Because from experience, I can tell you that all of these things will in fact improve. And I would argue, even if the bottom line value didn't increase, but you have happier employees, happier stakeholders, and happier suppliers, whilst it might be harder to put a number on the value gathered and improved and increased, the value is there. Higher retention, lower churn, better relationships with your suppliers, which likely means better contracts being set up, happier stakeholders, which means less volatility, and better quality conversations all around. All of these things add up and increase the value, not just today, but in the long term for the business. That is hard to put a price on. But that is why you want to do these things as an experiment. Set up that first team or team of teams. Gather data. Figure out how to gather the data and look at it regularly. Maybe even in the sprint reviews that you'll be doing with that team. Or in a other cadence as part of the leadership team to look at, now that we've tried Scrum for one team and it seems to be working, because in my experience it almost always does, funnily enough, where else do we want to go? Where else might this be useful? And then use that as your support for why you might want to do this. And the lessons you learn from this first experiment, this first team or team of teams, will help you overcome the resistance and some of the, shall we say, fatigue that we often have in organizations from doing a change after another change after another change, because we do want changes. We want the changes that work. Scrum happens to be one of those changes. And you can use this as a great way to prove to yourselves and to the people around that this will work. We know how long it might take. We know that there's going to be some things happening along the way, because inevitably that's how things go with making changes. But we also know that the results at the end of the road and along the journey are well worthwhile. So treat your implementations, treat your attempt at Scrum as a larger experiment with a clear hypothesis. What are we testing? Why are we testing it? What are we hoping to see? If A, then B, right? And gather not just value metrics and measures. Look also at the slightly more intangible stuff. Employee satisfaction, stakeholder satisfaction, and so on and so forth. And you might be surprised just how much those things improve. And yes, you might also get stuff done faster.